was one kind of game for 5 innings. And it was a whole different kind of game from then on. What's kind of your overall?
Well, I mean, Matheson was beating us a couple different ways. You know, I didn't think we were real competitive offensively early in the game, and when you're going against a good pitcher, a good opponent, you can't give at bats away. And I'm not saying we weren't trying, but I kind of said in the dugout, he's good, but he's not that good to be mowing through our lineup the way that he was. And I'm talking probably more about the strikeout piece of it. But, you know, we battled back in. We had, to me, a little bit of a mental mistake. And regardless of out or safe on the pickoff, you know, the point that we try to make with the guys is that, you know, you're going to argue that a little bit because it's a close play. And, you know, he probably got the call right. And I guess for me, it doesn't. The point of the team is it doesn't matter. There can't be a play there. You know, we got tying run at the plate. We got to be smarter than that, so that, you know, if we learn from that, then, you know, we'll take it. But that was, you know, I guess I'm disappointed. Not that we would have gotten those runs in, but I say this all the time. You want to put yourself at least in a position to see if you can. We took ourselves out of that potentially, you know, threatening inning.
Was the plan coming into, like, did you expect Brady to be able to go as deep into the game as he did, or was that just how well he started?
I mean, we honestly were probably thinking 3 to 5 innings, depending on how he did. But I mean, he was throwing well. Their guy was throwing well. It was locked. You know, the horns were locked up in that game, and it was a pretty good pitcher's duel for, you know, 5 innings. But, you know, I'm proud of him for stepping in there and doing that, and allows us to keep Boyd on the Saturday piece, which is what we wanted to do, and to give some guys other experience. And we just got to, you know, the win last night, I think, to me, probably locks us into the tournament. So our whole plan, realistically, is to, you know, be smart with our pitching and make sure we're rested, ready to go for the regionals, wherever we go.
Does a game like that from him, like, does that give you like almost another option now as you start thinking for regional guys you might have to start who?
You know, yeah, most definitely. But, you know, we're going to take it as you know, you get into regional plays as one. You know, we're going to take it one game at a time and use our best guys to try to win and stay in whatever winner's bracket. You know, we would have the good fortune of being in. So, but if you were fortunate enough to get some quality stuff and not use him, I mean, yeah, that was a good outing. It was a good indication that he can give you 4 or 5 innings. So
it seems like you have a few guys like that as you go into next week who, however, like the first couple games shake out, if you need another guy who can start. Is that kind of how you feel about it?
Yeah, I think most definitely, and I think the most important thing is just making sure that you're putting guys out there who give you a chance to win. And whether you're a starter, reliever up to this point, you know, some of that stuff you can throw it out in tournament play, because guys are going to be asked to do things that maybe they didn't do throughout the year, because it's, you know, lose and go home mentality. So we just want to, again, be smart in how we have those guys ready to play next week.
Did you convince them that the ball bounced off the scoreboard? Is that what the
I didn't
discussion
convince
was?
anything. I honestly, I just said, you know, can you talk about it? And they talked about it and came to their own conclusion that the ball bounced off the scoreboard.
So they were just going to roll with it being a double at first, you think, is how that
Well,
works?
there's a procedure. They're not going to automatically discuss that play unless you request that they talk it over.
And then on the play you got ejected on, do you have any comments on that at all?
I left all my comments out there. No, I mean, you know, it's a close play. It's a judgment play. We disagreed. You know, I was a little fired up probably from the other one, and you know, and I'll be the first to admit, like if I feel like I'm wrong, you know, we've looked at it. You know, those cases, I probably was. The other one's probably hard to tell, but you know, you're in there, you're trying to win, you're fired up. And, you know, I guess I said something that I'm not allowed to say, and so he threw me out. So I respect his authority in that situation, and so he threw me out appropriately. So. And
you did make another rally there. Bishop got it started again. And just you just can't put yourself in that situation repeatedly.
Well, right, I mean, if you go back to early in the game, I mean, we go, you know, it's different pitching, I understand, but we struck out, you know, with pretty easy outs early on, and we can't just dial it in the late innings because, like you said, it's too late, so, you know, but I still am proud of our guys because I thought outside of a couple things, we played good baseball. You know, it's a really good opponent. They're not 40 wins. You know, it's not an accident with that team. So we're right there. We just got to find a way to get over that hump.
How big in your mind is the difference between like just even being like a 2 seed or a 3 seed, and how it depends like where you could go in a regional, or is that?
Honestly, I've always, you know, if you're not a 1, then maybe you want to be a 4. You know, but it's going to be anybody that gets in that tournament. I've always subscribed to the theory everybody's got an ace. You know, I've played in a few of these, or coached in a few of these, I should say, and you know, you don't take anything for granted. Everybody's probably got an arm that can shut you down. So I think sometimes the dilemma, if you're the 1 seed and you're playing a 4 seed, you always discuss, do we throw off and save? If you're a 2 or 3, I don't think you have the luxury of throwing off. I think you got to do whatever you can do to get into that bracket. So that, you know, maybe some would perceive that to be a disadvantage, that if the 1 throws off, the 1 seed throws off, that you're going to be facing their 1 with your 2. But you know, you're in the winner's bracket. You're going to have to beat quality opponents to advance anyway. So the thing I like about it, and the mentality that we're going to have, is it doesn't matter what you did to get here, doesn't matter what your record was, any of that stuff. Everybody's 0-0, and it will be decided on the field. It will not be a coach's poll. It won't be any of that stuff. It's going to be, you're going to have to win to advance. So we'll do everything we can to win, either as a 2 or a 3 seed.
I know it's still a week away, but is the intention to keep RJ in the bullpen, or
I
is it?
I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, right now we've got 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would envision that if we're, if I'm looking at the crystal ball, I mean, I would assume he's probably going to be touching the baseball or touching the rubber in 1 or 2 of those first 2 games, because he's one of our better guys. So I don't know. I think a lot of it would depend on how those games go.
Would you put Vandercoin in some kind of pitch count tomorrow? Or?
We're going to be smart about it. I mean, you know, same thing with Marsh last night. We, you know, if we're in maybe a different scenario, maybe we extend him another inning, try to buy another inning. But I think our focus at this point is to make sure we're in the best position as we head off to a regional, wherever that is. So we'll let Boyd, you know, he's going to be competitive. We're going to want to win. But I think we can accomplish multiple things. We can get his work in. I'm hoping he gives us a quality start, but then we can also use some of those other guys. Jack pointed out that, you know, that's going to allow us to force us really to use some other guys and develop them for postseason.